Hi, my name is Shawn Williams, and I'm the Associate Professor of Political Science here at Campbellsville University, and welcome to our podcast. This is the first in what we hope are many attempts to talk a little bit about political science, politics, and some global affairs and global events. Today I want to talk a little bit about something I'm hearing a lot. This is the day after Super Tuesday, and a lot of people I know are talking about this idea that there's some grand anti-Bernie Sanders conspiracy, that the Democratic Party is uniting around behind closed doors to keep Bernie Sanders from becoming the Democratic nominee and then eventually President of the United States. And there might be some truth to that, but really it's not that complicated. It's really just something about how choice theory works when people are making decisions about what's in their best interests. So think about this as an example. Imagine if the big godfather of the city had just died and mobsters from all of the families were trying to vie for control. Each one wanted to be the mob boss to rule all mob bosses, if you will. Now, they're divided up into families and into ethnicities. And there are 6 particular mobsters. They're in 2 different families. All of them are Italian. What each one wants is the same thing. They all want to be the mob boss to rule all mob bosses. But if they can't do that, their preference is that one of the mobsters from their own family is in charge. And if they can't do that, their preference is that at least somebody from their own ethnicity is in charge. Because after all, Italians are better off if Italians are running the show, and Russians are if Russians. And if the person in charge is from my own family, well, all the better. So after about 6 months of warfare, 3 of the mobsters get together and they realize something fascinating. Collectively, they rule about 54% of the city, but they've been so busy fighting amongst themselves that it turns out the strategic advantage goes to someone from one of the other competing families. Now, this is despite the fact that within their own family, their leading mobster in fact has more control of the city than the other guy. So here's what they do. The 2 smallest mobsters, the 2 people who have the least control of the city, bow down. They kiss the ring and turn all of their attention to making sure that their own family member is the one who takes charge. Well, this is exactly what just happened in Super Tuesday. It turns out that in the first 4 primaries and caucuses, about 1.2 million votes had been cast for the Democratic Party. And of those, 54% had gone for one of the 3 moderate candidates, Joe Biden, Mayor Pete Buttigieg, or Amy Klobuchar. And in even of that 54% of the entire votes cast, Joe Biden had more votes than anyone else, including Bernie Sanders. But because of the rules of the game, because of the delegate counts and viability, Bernie Sanders was in a position where it looked like he had a clear pathway to the nomination and nobody could stop him. So what happened? Well, Mayor Pete and Amy Klobuchar, they just got out of the race. They got behind the person who is closest to them, the person who is closest to their own ethnicity, and united so that Joe Biden, rather than Bernie Sanders, was the one who could get the nomination. Now, this doesn't mean necessarily that Bernie Sanders is going to lose, and maybe by the time you watch this, the outcome has been determined. But the point is, it doesn't take a big conspiracy for people who have no chance of winning, but would be better off if somebody else did, to get out of the way and kind of let them win. Now, another thing that people talk about is what's going on with Elizabeth Warren, because at the time of this recording, she had yet to get out of the race. Well, think about it. If Warren knows that there's no chance for Bernie Sanders to get the nomination now that all the moderates have coalesced, it's actually better for her to do what's best for the Democratic Party, i.e. bring the nomination process to a close as quickly as possible, than for her to get out, support Bernie Sanders, and know that he's going to lose eventually anyway. So it's not a grand conspiracy. It's just simply everybody doing what's in their best interests and working together to try to make sure that their guy, the Democrat, is the one most likely to win. Now, thanks for listening. And if you liked what you heard here today, go and check out some of our other podcasts as we release them on the internet. Thank you and God bless.